Hey everybody and welcome. I'm Matt, Client Success Manager here at White House Custom Color. Before we dig in deep with Matt Mathews, which we're very excited to have Matt with us today, a couple announcements. If you're not following along and subscribing to the WHCC YouTube page, make sure and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you want to check us out on Instagram, we're at WHCC Pro. And for all the product details, sizing, options, all that stuff, take a peek at our website, WHCC.com, for all of that information. So, Matt.
Period.
Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Since you walked in the door at 9 o'clock this morning, we've been laughing. Like, my stomach hurts.
I'm funny. What can I say? I'm funny. Hysterical. Like, I can't help it.
You are. Okay, so let's talk about, first of all, like, logistics. Like,
okay.
Where did you fly in from yesterday? Tell us, like, about your area, about your business, like that stuff, just to start with.
So I flew in from Birmingham, Alabama, to Minnesota. You guys, y'all's accents here is really something.
I don't think we have accents.
I don't have an accent either. But y'all's accents here is so different than me. So, but I came from Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, where I have my boudoir studio there. I also have a lingerie store downstairs where I have a whole candle line, and I have a skincare line, and I have a merch line. I'm all the things.
All the things.
If you can think about it, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
I think I have ADD, and so like I can't like stick to one thing. I have to, always be doing something.
Yep.
So it's just all right there.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And you are also an author.
I'm an author.
And a barrel racer.
And I'm a barrel racer.
And you live on a farm.
And I live on a farm. I do. So I wrote a book. I wrote a memoir 3 years ago. It came out. It's called Uncovered: The Naked Truth of Life, Love, and Addiction. Mm-hmm. And it just talks about my journey of how I got to where I am. Because I cannot talk. Statistically, I should be dead or an alcoholic or a drug addict. Because kids perpetuate the things that they see as, and they become that as adults. Right. So I was really determined to break that cycle. And so I talk about that in my book and just kind of how I started from nothing and I grew to a 7-figure business.
Awesome. So before we get into like all the things, and after talking with you last night at dinner, like the way and the direction that this conversation is going to go today is completely different than any other live that we've had. I mean, you're playing at a different level, in a different field than a lot of people are. But let's start at the beginning, because it started with photography for you.
Sure.
Yeah?
No.
No?
It started with nursing school.
Oh, okay.
Get it right, get it tight.
All
okay?
right.
Like, I was gonna be a nurse.
Okay.
Which I would have been a terrible nurse. Like, I would have been sued 5,000 times because you hit me and I'm knocking your ass out. Like, it's just how it's gonna go. So I went to nursing school. Well, I got a job. I guess it did kind of start with photography because I got a job when I was 17 at Walmart Portrait Studios.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
see, I wasn't wrong, man.
You weren't wrong. If you are not already familiar with Walmart Portrait Studios, or it's kind of like Sears. You remember like in the 80s and 90s when you had Sears Portrait Studios? Yeah, you had the little stump. Yeah, all the things. Yeah. So I got a job there when I was 17 because I needed a job. I was trying to wilding out with my friends and I needed some money. So I got a job at Walmart Portrait Studios, and it was actually like I enjoyed it. But I never had a desire to be a photographer. That was never in my realm of things. Like being a photographer was nothing for me. Never a dream. I was going to follow my mom's footsteps. I was going to be a nurse. I was going to go to nursing school, do all the things.
Yep.
Then I graduated high school, and I took all of my money that I made from graduation, and I went out and I bought a Canon Rebel kit lens, like a kit with. I went to Sam's Club with my grandma.
Yep.
And I bought like the whole kit. And I will never forget my mom saying, "You just spent all of your money from graduation that you could have used toward tuition on a camera you don't even know how to use." And I'm like,
makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Yep.
You're correct.
Yep.
Little did you know I'm finna be a rich bitch, but it was never really something that I wanted to do. And I graduated high school. I got accepted into nursing school. How? I'll never know. Probably because my aunt did all my homework for me online. But I got accepted into nursing school. I did nursing school, and it wasn't for me, and I hated it. And I went into school one day, and I didn't consult with anybody. I didn't tell anybody. I just went into school, and I said I quit. And I told my counselor, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. If I have to do this for the rest of my life, I'm going to be miserable.
Yeah.
So I quit. And I remember walking out to my car and getting in my car, and I almost threw up because I was like, I just ruined my life. Because at this point in my life, I believed that you had to have a college degree to be successful.
Right.
Because all I saw in my life were addicts and alcoholics and people that didn't have college degrees and they weren't successful. And I didn't want to be that person.
Right.
So it kind of went from there.
Yeah. But the next step for you and how you began this journey to success and where you're at right now, what came next? Because the studio, the store, the brand, the 2.2 million followers, like all this has erupted for you.
Yeah.
So like how did Matt Mathews, the brand, really get going? Because like you are a walking brand right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ready, set, go.
Yeah, like that's a really big question.
It is.
So, I got this job. I went to nursing school. While I was in nursing school, I lived in a trailer park, and I started. As I was getting it how I live in this trailer park, I was a wedding photographer, and that's where I started, was wedding photography. And I did wedding photography, and I decided, I was like, this shit is not fun. I'm in Alabama, it is hot, I'm sweating every weekend, like out there in the sun, and I realized that brides didn't really care. It wasn't really something they really cared about. I was a check mark off their list.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this is not for me. So, but I did weddings. I was on the cover of several bridal magazines. I shot for big brand bridal companies and all of these things. And I made good money and I made a name for myself, but I really still wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And so in 2015, I bought my first house. And on the back of that house, there was a 300 square foot room. Are you ready for this?
I am.
I bought this, there's a 300 square foot room, and it was like separated from my house. It had like this door. And it's where I live now. So like, it's the country on an 11-acre farm. And my driveway was a gravel driveway, okay? And I was like, I'm gonna be a boudoir photographer because I photographed a boudoir session for my mom in 2014. She always struggled with depression, never felt good about her body, didn't love who she was. Yeah. So I photographed a session for her, and she told me how beautiful it made her feel, how good she felt, how she felt confident. And then the following year, she passed away unexpectedly. So those photos to me were my most prized possession. You know, like, it really changed something in me, and it lit a fire in me that this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to change people's lives with the power of boudoir photography. Yeah. And so I opened a 300 square foot studio on the back of my house in the country on this gravel dirt road, and I made 6 figures in there. And I had people showing up, y'all, in their BMWs and their Mercedes, and I just remember thinking to myself, shit, I really hope nobody's car bottoms out in my driveway. Because like my driveway was like this, you know? And I'm like, man, we're about to be messed up because somebody's gonna sue my ass. And it got to the point where I was like, I have to get a studio. Yeah. Like this is like way more than I anticipated. So I moved to my first space. It was a residential loft in downtown Birmingham. We were there for a year. And then we moved to our first commercial space that we actually got to do the whole build out and everything. We were there for 2 years. And then we moved to where I am now, which is a 4,200 square feet space with my studio and my store, and we've been there for 3 years.
And you opened that at precisely
March 2020,
right.
to be exact,
Perfect
in the middle
timing.
of a pandemic.
Yeah.
In the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
And you know what? It still made 6 figures in the middle of a pandemic. So, like, I'm proud of that. Like, that's one of my biggest accomplishments. You know, most businesses don't survive the first year, but to survive the first year and thrive in the middle of a pandemic, you can't tell me nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So, in your own words, Matt, struggles are something that I am very familiar with. Nothing ever came easy for you. To see you online, to listen to you speak, it's hard for me to even see that other person, but that's somebody that's there.
Yeah.
How did you get past that? Like, because you're so positive about reinforcing and helping and nurturing and caring. How do you do that for yourself? Because that's hard.
It's hard, yeah. So with my background and you know where I grew up, and I was the only white kid in my neighborhood. I was the only white kid in my church, and you know we lived. Let's just call it like it is. We lived in the ghetto, you know, like, and it was a very, very bad neighborhood. And my mom was an alcoholic, and every time the rent was due, we'd move to another government housing or another ghetto area, and just in different places because she couldn't afford to pay the rent. And I remember I drank sugar water and ate mayonnaise sandwiches because, like, that's what we could afford. And I'm not finna get emotional up in this motherfucker. I mean, excuse me. But that is what we could afford, you know? And like, that was my life. And I remember people shooting like outside of our windows at night. And I remember seeing all of the things and telling myself at a very young age, I do not ever want this life for myself. I wanted to get out of that. I never wanted to ask somebody for money. I never wanted to ask somebody to be able to pay my bills. And that was like my biggest driving factor was I never want to go back there. I never want to go back to being broke. I never want to go back to an area of my life that I lived for so long. So how do I do that?
Right. How do you break that cycle?
Yeah. How do you break the cycle?
Right.
What do you do? And that was my biggest driving factor was how do I make that work on my own?
Right. And I think that you're focusing on kind of the logistics of it, but you know, I have written in front of me, and I'm quoting you. It's from loving yourself.
Yeah, it is.
It truly is.
It's from, you know, you have to. Here's the thing, and this is what I tell my followers every day: is like, how can you expect anybody else to love you or believe in you if you don't love and believe in yourself? You know, you have to love and believe in who you are before anybody else is going to give you that opportunity. Yeah. And so it came from literally me believing that I could do it, and believing that you have to get out of that negative mind space. Like, you cannot be a negative person and be like, oh my God, like, I just wasn't given the opportunities. Oh, shut up. Like, if you want it, make it happen.
Go get it.
Like, there's this poem that we used to have on our refrigerator, and it's called The Bottom Line. Nobody owes you a living. Nobody owes you anything. Your parents are not responsible for what you become. Just because you have a crappy life doesn't mean that you have to continue to have a crappy life.
Right.
You know, so it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you're from the ghetto, if you're from the trailer park. Like, where you are in life does not determine where you're going, but you got to get your butt up and like make it happen. You have to hustle for yourself because nobody's going to do it for you.
Right. And you are the king of hustle.
I'm the king of hustle. I am the king because I'm not about to be broke again.
Right.
I'm not. Like, so I was, like I said, I feel like I have ADD because I'm always doing something, but I think it's because there's so much that I want to do, you know? And it's like, literally my fans on social media, they're like, when do you sleep?
Right.
I'm like, I don't know
that
I do. I don't know. So it's just, you have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe that you can change, and you can become everything that you want to be, regardless of where you come from, regardless what people have told you. You can make it happen. You just have to make it happen.
Right. So before we get into this next section, I just want to remind everybody here that we're hanging out with Matt Mathews today. We're very excited to have him here for our YouTube Live. We're focusing on how Matt has really built an empire with his brand in all ways, shape, or
Period.
form. Yep, exactly. And if you're not subscribed to the WHCC YouTube channel, make sure and hit that up. We're doing all kinds of fun content like this. We have all kinds of education on there to check out. Also Instagram, WHCC Pro, and for all the details on products here at the lab and options and sizing, make sure and hit WHCC.com. Okay, so
What?
Next.
Listen.
Thank you for that.
Also, if you're not watching this, you know what your mama is. She's
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So last night, after I picked you up from the airport, we talked, and you made a major announcement on your social media recently. And you've been keeping this pretty tight to yourself for a while.
3 years.
Yeah. And for those of you that follow along with Matt, know that he is wildly successful in social media. You have millions of followers, 2.2 to be exact.
I don't know
TikTok,
how.
170,000 on Instagram, but
And I got a blue check. Don't forget that part.
there you go. You're verified.
Don't forget that.
So tell us about this whole new side that you've been working on for 3 years, because this is pretty incredible.
Well, it's not incredible because it didn't happen.
Well,
but, so 3 years ago, I signed a contract with one of the largest production companies in Los Angeles about a show about my life, about a gay boudoir photographer in the South that's photographing half-naked women for a living and living on a farm and barrel racing professionally and all the things. Because it's kind of a weird dichotomy. You're like, you live on the farm, you ride horses, you have a famous chicken. Shout out to all the fluffy lovers. You have all these things, and you're also a boudoir photographer. Like they don't go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So I signed a reality show deal about my life, and we developed that for like 2 years, and it was a lot of fun. It was something that was really, really crazy to me, and then it sold to one of the largest networks in the world. They're one of the biggest. I'm not gonna name no names because I'm not trying to get sued, but it sold to one of the largest networks in the world, and a year later after that, we developed more of the show. We filmed, casting interviews. We filmed all of these things to make the show. And then following up to that, this past April was when we were supposed to have our final answer of like, we're green lighting and we're going to season 1.
Yeah.
And we got the bad news that the network, they were kind of new to reality and they weren't doing that great with reality. They didn't have the numbers that they wanted. So unfortunately, they weren't able to greenlight my show to season 1. So, which sucked because I was like, we've worked on this for 3 years. Like this was, really, really a fun, cool thing that we were really excited about. But it ended up not happening. And, to me, I had to believe that it's because there's something else better waiting. Yeah. And, a lot of people would probably be like, oh, well, it didn't happen, and they're just down in the dumps, and that's over. It's over for me. It's over for me. Nah, baby, it ain't over for me, at all. Right. So it's just getting started. And I had to just be positive about it and know my production company was great, the network was great, everybody loved me, everybody loved my story and what I did. And, everybody believed in me. It just wasn't the right time.
Right.
And that's okay because there's other things that I need to do, and there are other platforms for me, and there are other avenues for me. And it just kind of set in stone that right now wasn't the time, and I need to continue to do what I'm doing.
Right. So, thinking back to, the conversation that you and I had, it was probably in 2019, as you were considering going down this path, and how your brand has grown and how you're still, even though you had all that going on, you're still doing this, all the things.
Yeah.
You're not just a photographer. I mean, that's just a small
That's just like a piece of the
yeah.
puzzle.
And something that I thought was really interesting last night when we were talking, we were talking about your social media presence and your fans base and everything, and keeping people engaged and interested. And you're like, if I just posted my boudoir stuff, I'd
Anybody go follow me?
Yeah. So how were you creating that mixture. And I know that this is all you. You're not putting on. This is just your personality. But you're doing it very calculated. How do you do that?
So I can't give all my secrets. No, I'm kidding. It really does come down to being who you are. It's all about being authentic. And, authentic marketing is something that I teach at my workshops. And being authentic and being who you are. And I tell people all the time, if you're not a hey girl, if you're not, that loud personality, don't be that loud personality.
Right.
Because trust me, there are people out there that don't like me. And there are people that are always going to not like you based off who you are as a person. But there are millions of people that do like me, so there are going to be people that don't like you and people that love you based on who you are. And you just have to go with that, and you have to be real and authentic, because at the end of the day, people smell BS from a mile away.
Right, absolutely.
So you have to be who you are. And as you said, I'm not just a photographer. It started, everything kind of started with boudoir photography. And then I realized, I have so much more of my life that I can share.
Totally.
That is interesting, that people want to see, that isn't just boudoir photography. Now I don't even share my work much on social media anymore, and I'm booked 9 months in advance.
Right.
So it's crazy to me that people want to see about the farm life. They want to watch me barrel race. I have people come to barrel races and come up to my trailer and they're like, we love you, we love the horses. People want to take a picture with Luna. She's the queen, okay? Yeah. So everybody loves the queen. They want to come take pictures with her, and I always make fun. I'm like, she has more fans than I do. But they're interested in that, and people are interested in who we are.
Right.
Regardless of what it is. It doesn't matter if you're a photographer, if you're a singer, if you're an actor, if you're a bagger at Piggly Wiggly, baby, it don't matter. They want to know who you are. And, posting that behind the scenes, posting things about your life. And, mine has gotten a little bit different because now I do share my whole life on the internet to the world. So that has changed things dramatically in my life, but you just have to show up and be you.
Right. Yeah, because you'll run out. You'll run out of stuff. You'll run out of energy if you're trying to fake it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So with all of the social media fame, and we talked about last night, you just went to a concert, and Bree said she's not ever going anywhere with you again because everybody wanted to take pictures with you. That's so cool. But at the same time, there's challenges that come with that.
Yeah.
And for everybody that's listening along today, photography was just the beginning, like we've said. I mean, you've grown this massive thing that now is how do you control that, and how do you keep what is private to you, and what do you put out there? And it sounds like you're putting pretty much everything out there.
I don't really have anything that's private, but I think that is what my audience likes, is because I am so transparent.
Yeah.
There's really not anything that I hide. Except, when my platform has grown so much, my husband is very opposite of me. He is very, introverted, quiet, and he's like, I don't want to be on social media. Don't put me in front of nobody. And because I don't put that out there, people want to know.
Well, I saw your post the other day. You're like, to save you guys all the Google time.
To save you some Google time. One of the number one Google search things the other day was Matt Mathews' husband. Is Matt Mathews married? Mind your damn business. First off, I'm grown. I'm gonna do what I want to do, regardless. Okay. Second off, worry about yourself.
Right.
And I just try to leave. I try to respect people
Yeah.
and respect his boundaries and respect my boundaries, and I share what I want to share, and I do share 99.9% of my life with the world. So if I have that one piece that's mine, then I just have to have that one piece that's mine.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you're gonna get scrutiny, you're gonna get hate, you're gonna get love, you're gonna get all of the things no matter what you're doing. So I have to have a piece of me that is just for me.
Right, yeah, for sure. So with your social media, Matt, how much are you able to convert, or do you want to convert back to the studio? How much of it is going kind of towards more just the Matt Mathews brand, your comedy, your entertainment side, your apparel brand, your candles? Are you targeting that, or is it just, I'm just going to do this and kind of let it fall where it may?
Honestly, I'm very much a fly by the seat of my pants kind of person. I just put it out there.
Yep.
I just put it out there, and I put myself out there, and I think people just connect with me because I'm real. And because they do connect with me, they're able to see themselves in me, and they want to support me for that, you know?
Or wish they could.
And and I mean, period. Like, so, you know, so it's a weird thing because you have all these avenues and all these things that are happening, and you kind of have to like see where do they all go. And you know, I actually posted on Instagram the other day because statistically, you know, on social media you should have a niche and you should stick to that niche, and like niche whatever, don't come for me. And you should post those things. So to all the Instagram educators that are trying to grow your platform, teach you how to grow, I should be posting just boudoir every day, all day, because that's what I do.
Yep.
No. Like, if I was doing that all day, every day, I would not be booked 8 months in advance.
Right.
Like, there is no rhyme or reason. I just post what I think is funny. I post my life. I post the things that I know will connect with people. And because they connect with that, like, you know, I had somebody say the other day, she was like, I'm new to your account. I don't know what the hell I'm watching, but I'm here for it.
What is happening here?
What is happening here? Because there's a lot going on here. What is happening? But, you know, laughter is like, when you can make somebody laugh, you break down that wall, and you break down that barrier, and they connect with you.
Right.
You know, so like, laughter and comedy is my number one thing. You know, I'm just funny. I am. Like, you ain't got to tell me. I know I am. And it's not that I try to be. I've just always had that personality to make people laugh, and I enjoy making people laugh.
Yeah.
You know, like, I get so much enjoyment out of seeing people laugh, and I get messages on Instagram and TikTok every day that's like, my husband died and I haven't laughed, I haven't smiled in months, and you know, and watching your videos make me smile. I had somebody message me and she said, my mom is literally on hospice and she's dying, and I have not seen her smile in a month. And I started showing her your videos, and she watches them every day and laughs. Like, that to me
That's huge.
is so huge. Like, that to me is priceless.
Yeah.
So like, that's why I continue to post and do the things that I do. Because even the days that I don't feel like it and the days that I don't show up, I know that I'm making someone smile. And like, that laughter just comes along with all the other things that I'm doing.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. That's a side of you I haven't seen before. I've known you for a long time.
Well, there you go. Now you know.
I do know. So, are you inspired by any accounts out there? Like, who do you follow, Matt?
Okay, so you're not going to believe me when I tell you this. I really don't follow a lot of people.
Okay.
Because the reason why is because, like we all are, even though I'm very confident in who I am, I'm very confident in my abilities and everything that I do, I will compare myself to other people, just like we all do, because we all have a piece of us that is insecure.
Yep.
And I will compare myself. And I think comparison is the thief of joy. And so I will scroll people's pages and I'll like watch their stuff and, you know, things like that. But I try not to like follow people strictly and like look at their stuff all the time, because I'll be like, oh, well, she got 20 million views on that video. You know, why did I not, you know?
Right.
And I'll compare myself to them. And that's not healthy.
Right.
So I try not to do that. I love positive accounts. I love uplifting accounts. I love accounts that are healthy. You know, I'm very natural and organic and clean. So I follow a lot of accounts like that. You know, and then there's like barrel racers that I follow and things that, you know, things like that. But there's really not anybody that I just really like strive to be like or follow, because at the end of the day, like, I always want to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
So I try to one-up myself every day.
Yeah, totally. And you do.
I do.
So let's switch gears from social media for a minute. Let's talk about the studio specifically. So before we get into that, we do have a question. So I'll come back to that one, Christina. Have you ever been photographed by other boudoir photographers?
I have been photographed a couple of times by other boudoir photographers. My girl, I'm giving you a shout out, girl. My girl, Carla Mason, she's one of my best friends. She is a boudoir photographer in Virginia. She also uses WHCC.
Awesome.
And Carla is she's my ride or die. She's such a good girl. She's such a good friend. And she's an amazing boudoir photographer. And she'll come and she will, anytime that she comes and visits, we'll take a couple of pictures. I've never done like a full session, but I've had a couple pictures here and there. You can find them on my Instagram.
Yeah. So at the studio, you mentioned before that you're booked out until May now, which is crazy.
Insane.
Yeah, and you're also contemplating what for next fall. I'll let you.
I haven't announced that yet.
Okay, so we won't go
Let's
there.
not go there yet.
Okay.
But just because I've not even like really talked about it. So I gotta save that one.
Got it.
That one's gonna be big.
I found the thing that we can't talk about.
You found the thing.
I found the thing.
Yeah, because that one's gonna be big.
That's gonna be big.
That's gonna be real big.
Yeah.
And it's yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so at the studio, you photograph only. That's all you do.
That's all I do is shoot.
Perfect. So your advice to somebody who is trying to be chief cook and bottle washer right now and do everything would be?
Find somebody that is an expert in those other areas and you stick to what you're really good at.
Right.
My manager said to me one day, he was like, you need to get your hands out of everything else. And he was like, what you need to stick to is photographing your clients, social media, making people smile, interacting with your fans. Like, that's what you need to stick to.
Yep.
Let us do all of the other things.
Right.
Because if you're putting your energy everywhere else, your energy over here is going to fall off.
Right. That's what I wanted you to say. I wanted you to talk about the energy because what you're doing in the studio and online and everything, that takes a tremendous amount of energy and you have to be focused and not doing all the other things.
Absolutely.
And you have a great support staff to do that. So how many sessions are you doing like in a day or in a week, Matt? Like,
so we only shoot one session a day because we
Okay.
do same day image reveals.
Okay.
So that takes the whole day.
Okay.
Our clients come in at 10 a.m., they sit down, they get hair and makeup done, which takes about an hour and a half. I photograph them for about an hour, and then they go have lunch, go shop, whatever, and then they come back to our studio 2 hours later.
Okay.
So they get to, and that's kind of unheard of. They get to come back 2 hours later because most of my clients are coming from out of state. So they'll come back 2 hours later, sit down with Bree, go through all of their images, choose their products, do their ordering, and then they're gone. So it's 4 o'clock by the time that we're done with the order and they leave. Okay. So it's a full day.
Right. So what a cool experience for somebody that is, in case you didn't catch that, most of your clients are flying in. Or,
from out of state, yeah.
From out of
we had
state.
somebody from Belgium.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I'm international. So yeah, it is insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. So next question, how do you handle plus size women who potentially would not be confident during the session?
So the thing is, most people aren't confident when they come in. It doesn't matter if you're plus size, it doesn't matter if you're standard size. Most people aren't confident. They're not. I don't photograph models. I photograph every single day real women who don't love their bodies, who don't feel good about their skin, and that's why they do this. I actually don't love getting clients that are brides. I don't want you to come in and do this for your husband.
Yeah.
That's not the client I want. I want the women that want to come in and do this for them. And so I handle plus size clients just like I would handle every other size. Your weight does not define your beauty. So I photograph you, and one of the questions that we ask is, what do you love about yourself? What do you not love about yourself? So when they come in, if they say, I don't like my stomach, I make sure to not photograph their stomach, right on, and because they're not gonna love that image.
Right.
So it's all about angles, it's all about lighting, it's all about, all of these things that really go into making a beautiful portrait, because we don't edit, we're not gonna make you a size 0 if you're a size 10.
Right.
You're still gonna look like you. I'm just gonna show you the best version of yourself.
Yeah, totally. So then as those clients are coming in from Belgium, which is pretty awesome, so you're working with them in the morning, they're taking the break, they're coming back and working with Bree for their sales session or their preview appointment. So what are some of your favorite products? Even though I know the answer to this, I'll let you tell everybody that's listening along that you're doing through WHCC.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I'm an OG.
He is.
I have been using WHCC since 2011, so over a decade. I've never used another lab, ever. So don't piss me off.
We'll try not to.
So I really do. I really do love WHCC and the turnaround time and the quality of the products. We sell albums like hotcakes.
Kind of like that one right
like
there.
This one right here. This is the Cole vintage leather, or distressed leather.
Distressed leather, yep.
This is the distressed Cole leather, and this is one of our biggest sellers. Our clients love these. And this is the 10 by 10, right?
Yep, 10 by 10.
And so this is one of our beautiful clients. I hope y'all, can I show this?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so this is one of our gorgeous clients, and this is, she's actually on, oh no. Never mind, she ain't on the wall, that's somebody else. But she is stunning, and we do a lot of albums, because what I tell my clients is, in 30 years, do you want to try to figure out how to look at your images on a CD, or do you want to sit down at a fireplace with your husband or your wife and have a glass of wine and look at your album and remember that time in your life?
Right.
It's all about tangible products that you're going to have forever.
Absolutely.
So like albums, metal wall art, those are huge for us. The heirloom boxes are huge with the mounted print on the inside.
Yeah.
Those are my top sellers.
Cool. So about how long are they spending with Bree then to go through that process?
It takes about an hour.
Okay. Oh, so you're doing it pretty quick.
Yeah,
then.
it just kind of, and we never rush them. It just kind of depends on how indecisive they are.
Okay.
So we show them a slideshow first. They get to see all their images on a slideshow, and then we go through them individually. If there's any that they don't love, we'll take those out, and then we see how many that they have total at the end, and then we run them through the products. They're able to see everything, touch it, see what it looks like, see what it feels like. And then from there, they're able to make their order.
And then you're drop shipping everything out?
And we drop ship it directly to their house.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then once they leave your studio, you're probably not going to see them again unless they're coming back for another appointment at a later time.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So you are also very deep into the photography education side of things. You teach conferences, you are speaking at at conventions and all those things. What is coming up for you in 23? Are you still doing some workshops? Are you like teaching, educating? Like what are you thinking there?
We don't know.
Yeah.
I never know. Like I told you, I'm totally a fly by the seat of my pants. I don't really plan things that much. I'm not a planner.
Yeah.
So we've talked about doing another workshop in the spring, which I host at my studio.
Yep.
So that's a really fun 2 days that we really go over all the things business. I show them how to pose. I show them how to, edit. We do all of that. And then I've been asked to speak at a couple of different conferences next year. So we'll kind of see how that plans out and go from there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're honored that you took a couple days to come hang out with us.
Yeah, I'm glad that I was able to come hang out.
So for somebody that is so vested into business, into so many things, for somebody that's watching along and being like, wow, I can't even imagine, how could you help direct somebody? Being in the position that you're in today, somebody has aspirations to be in the world like you are. I can't say be like you because there's nobody like you. What's your advice? I know you've got some.
To like starting a business?
No, to like taking that next step. Somebody who's got a studio that has an online presence that really has the drive to build an empire like you've done. Like, what's your advice to them? So
the number one advice to that is probably not going to be what you think it's going to be. Because there's no like traditional steps. There's not a to-do list. It's number one, knowing that you're gonna have to work your ass off, and you're gonna have to show up every single day, and you're gonna have to invest in your followers as much as they invest in you. And you're gonna have to believe that you can do it and put the work in, because at the end of the day, if you're not willing to work for yourself, nobody's gonna invest in you, nobody's gonna work for you. So you have to believe that you can do it, and you have to show up every day. You can ask my assistant. She'll sit in my office, and I'll be in the studio making a video, and I'll be like, dang it, I messed it up again. And I'll be in there for 20 minutes making one video, because I'll keep messing it up, and she just sits in there and giggles. And she's like, and my students, they're like, so we really have to do this every day? And she just is sitting there, and she's like, yes, he does it every day. You have to show up. You have to be there for that audience, and you have to connect with them. If there's no connection in what you're doing, you're never going to be successful.
Right. So if you're in the studio in the morning doing a session, how much of the rest of your day is dedicated to your followers and to your fan base?
All day.
All day.
Yeah, because if I'm not posting...
Plus when you go home.
Yeah, I mean, even when I'm at home, when I'm riding my horses, when I'm at a barrel race, when I am working, like feeding my animals.
Yeah.
You can see my TikTok and my Instagram, I'm filming content.
Yeah.
Because that's what they want to see. And if you tell me tomorrow, okay, we don't want to see the farm anymore, we want to see this. Okay, then that's what I'm going to be doing because I listen to the people that follow me and support me.
Right.
And that's what I mean, they're the reason that I do it. They're the reason that I'm successful. They're the reason that I have gotten the platform that I've gotten. So I continue to do what they want to see.
What people want to see. I loved in the video the other day, your hair is all cockeyed and you're wearing your bathrobe.
Look, and that's the thing is, people are like, do you really wear that robe or is it for show? No, baby. I wear that robe in the mornings because, look, I'm not finna get up and put on clothes, go feed animals, go inside, take a shower, change clothes again, and then go to work. That's a lot of laundry.
That is a lot of laundry.
So I just throw my little robe on and go about my day.
So how do people get your text messages from you? You've been playing with that since you got here. Like, how does somebody get signed up for that?
So it's not like a subscription service. It's completely free, and it's not like an automated thing. So people are like, I texted you and I didn't hear back. Baby, I'm busy. Like, you're not going to get a text back from an automated bot. It's me. It's really me. I do read the messages. I try to respond as much as I can, but you have to understand that I get thousands of messages on there and across TikTok and Instagram and everything else. Yeah. So I try to respond as much as I can, but it is really me, and you can text me. Don't know the number off the top of my head, but it is a real number. It's on my Instagram stories. Could you find that, Christina?
Yep.
So you can just text the number. You can just text to, it's 205. Something.
We'll get right back with that.
I think it's on my stories. I posted it yesterday.
Yeah, and I love the comment, add a robe to your merch.
My husband said that the other night. My husband was like, what if you added a robe? Like, what if you had a robe that, like, you could add and people could buy robes? I was like, I don't know. I will say this. I'm very excited. If you want to text me, you can text me. The number is 205-964-5382. It is really me. I really do respond. It's not an automated bot. It's a free thing that you can text me. We can communicate. It's kind of like a VIP thing, so I get to tell people about, like, anytime we have a new launch. Like, I'm going to text my members there before I ever post it on social media.
And you did that before we went live this morning, too.
Yeah, so I texted everybody in there, and I was like, hey, I'm about to go live. Go watch the video here.
Right.
So it's just a good way to really communicate with fans and, like, have that additional connection. Because that's what it's all about to me.
So aside from the text line, where else can people find you? What's your Instagram, TikTok, like all that? Can you just kind of list those off?
Instagram and TikTok are both the same. It's at Matt_Mathews. One T in the last name, because everybody puts two T's. It's one T in the last name, Matt_Mathews. Same thing on my Facebook, and that's all. MattMathews.com if you want to find my website and all my merch, all of the lingerie, my skincare line, my candle line, all of that is there as well.
All the things.
All of the things.
Yes, and we're all wearing part of your merch today. I've
You
got mine under here.
They all have my Get It How You Live t-shirts on today. Every person in this room had that, and I was so shocked when I came in. I love it so much. So it's super cute. You can go watch my stories and see that because it's amazing.
For sure. Well, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We really have enjoyed having you here. We've got a few more things to do with you today here at the lab. And for people who are watching along, and if you're watching the replay of this, if you have questions for Matt, we know where he's at. We can get some answers. I'm sure he would be happy to answer them. So make sure and put any questions you would have into the comments, and we'll track those down for you. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to the WHCC YouTube page, make sure and hit that button. Follow along on Instagram at WHCC Pro. Any questions you have for product-wise, options, sizes, all the things, hit WHCC.com. Once again, I'm Matt, Client Success Manager here at White House Custom Color. We're honored to have had you here today, my friend.
I'm Matt Mathews, in case you're not aware.
Everybody knows that. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you at the next time.
At the next time.
The next time. That sounded weird.
Yeah, that was weird.